to have him at this table. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. It's hard to look at those tapes and think Steve Martin novelist.
Yeah. Or playwright.
Yeah, playwright. Yes.
Or New Yorker writer.
Yes. How can you not take me seriously?
Now,
please. I'm insulted.
I do take you seriously.
No, not you. I'm talking about them. Them. The big them.
Has this been, this evolution from comedy writer
to
Tonight Show, Saturday Night Live, stand-up, movies, has it been in sort of a well-crafted career, or did you just sort of glide from one to the other?
Just gliding from one thing to the other. I've made a few important decisions in my life. One was to go from stand-up to movies, and that was calculated because I knew that, you know, eventually you just kind of wear out as a stand-up, either from my side of it, from the audience's side, and someone told me something once when I was first starting out, not, you know, relevant to anything I was saying or doing or being. He said, "I've noticed that when a TV star comes in a restaurant, that people, you know, they come up, they approach, they feel like you're, you know, they're buddies or everything. So, but when a movie star comes in the room, it's a very different thing. It's much more.
They keep their distance.
They keep their distance. And I go, that's what I'd like to be.
I'd like to be the movie star.
Yeah. And I always felt, you know, when I first started out, when I was in college, and I'm looking at the big mysterious world of show business, say everybody who's popular now is going to grow older, and they're going to have to be replaced. Why not me?
Why not me do that?
Yeah.
Did you have
confidence? Now it's
confidence?
happening to me.
You're growing older.
Yeah.
But what's amazing, did you see, did you come to the conclusion that as far as you were concerned, stand-up simply was not interesting anymore, or did you think that it wasn't as interesting for the audience?
I think it's mutual.
So,
Yeah. You're talking about in terms of myself.
yeah,
not
in terms of the conclusion of that aspect of a career.
Yeah, I think you can start to feel the incredible heat of being a hot stand-up, where everything you say is funny, which is slightly unrewarding.
Yeah.
You know, because you also, as a stand-up, you want to earn it. And it sort of gets out of control. And, you know, the real joy in performing stand-up is in the timing. And it's making such small movements from one thing to another. But when the audience is wild and out of control, you lose that. And so it starts to lose its interest for you.
There are those who say what you brought to stand-up. I think Tom Hanks said this at some point. You brought irony to stand-up. What did he mean?
Well, I think what he meant is something I actually felt at the time, is that when I first started, when my act started coalescing into what it was, which was the early 70s. It was a time of huge Vietnam War protest. It was a very serious time. All comedy was political. And it was also had become rote. You know, you could just mention the name Nixon and get a big laugh or boo or some huge response. And I felt that it was time to change that. In a way, it was time to go back to something pre this time, to sort of wild, crazy comedy. So when I did it again, it had these kind of quotes around it. And I think that's what he meant by the irony. It was, not only was I doing it, being, you know, wild and crazy, but also there was something ironic in doing it. It was like, it was more than just being silly. It had, oh, look, I'm being silly and I know it. And we know it. And we're all a part of it.
Right,
you know, you can join in if you want.
Where is it today, you think, comedy?
It's, you know, it's so all over the map. It's fantastic.
And Robin still does what he did.
Yeah.
Seinfeld no longer does stand-up, but maybe coming back to stand-up.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at, I'm not fully aware of all stand-up, so I see what the audience sees, you know, as a, you know, television watcher or whatever. Like, I've seen Chris Rock. I think he's so fabulous. He has great energy and great delivery, and his topics are elevated. And
it almost has social commentary.
Yeah, that's what I mean by saying it's elevated. Right. It is, you know, he's saying things that are, you know, that wouldn't have been said even 2 or 3 years ago.
He's making points with humor that are really penetrating.
Right, and he's likable.
Yeah.
So he has all the show business qualities. You know, you can't not be likable.
When you made the transition to movies, was it easy for you?
Well, it was. Because I was very hot as a stand-up comedian. But this was also before people knew that hot stand-up comedians could go into movies. Yeah. So it was all very tentative. There was nervousness. You know, we did a short film to sort of introduce me to the movie audience, The Absent-Minded Waiter.
Right.
And there was like a lot of planning from the studio side and nervousness. But I had nothing but belief because I was, you know, you're so naive. You go, oh, I'm a hit. You know, don't worry, I'll be a hit. Don't worry,
I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah. It got more successful as you went on. The first were not as successful as those that came on later, were they?
Well, The Jerk was very successful. That was the first one. Yeah, that was very successful.
Was that Carl Reiner who did that?
Yeah, Carl Reiner. Yeah. And then the next real hit was All of Me. And that was like 3 or 4 pictures later.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you started to write, or were you writing all along because of the?
Well, I had written I'd written a lot for television for about 3 or 4 years.
But that was back for a while.
That was back, and then I published a book, Cruel Shoes, and then I co-wrote The Jerk and a lot of my early films, and then I wrote Roxanne. It all just.
But then at some point you stopped looking at scripts and said that I'm going to write plays, or I'm going to write at least one play.
Yeah. This was a logical conclusion on my part. I said, okay, I've written screenplays, and I've performed in front of an audience. What is a play? A play is, a dialogue-based story that's performed in front of an audience. So I thought I should be able to write something, put it on, look at it. I can hear the audience. I know when it's not working. I know when it is from my experience with performing live. And therefore, I should be able to write a play. So that was my premise. And I sat down and secretly, privately, just started writing this thing, knowing that I could throw it away at any time. I didn't have to do it. And once I finished it, which took about year and a half, 2 years of starting and stopping. Is this a good? Okay, I'll keep going. I took it to Australia, to Melbourne, because my wife at the time was doing a movie down there, and I put it on in a little theater, in a little workshop, and we did it 2 nights. And there's a saying in the movie business. I think George Lucas is credited with it. It said movies are binary; they either work or they don't.
Yes, it's either up or down.
Yeah, and what that means is. You can have a movie that's filled with holes and problems, and the audience loves it. And you can have a movie that's perfect, and every scene is perfect, and they don't care.
And you can't predict.
Right, and you can't predict. It's just something mysterious.
It almost has an organic quality with respect to an audience.
Right. It's just the greatest mystery of all.
I mean, I see just in
Richardson. It's not the greatest mystery.
No, it's not.
There are other greater mysteries.
They are.
It just dawned on me right now.
That would not be a true statement.
Like the universe.
Exactly. Lots of them. But it is amazing to me that really gifted filmmakers will come in here and say, I think it's good. Because they generally come here before the movie opens. But they're very nervous. They say, I don't know. In the end, I don't know whether the audience will get it or not, will like it or not, even though I think it's good. And they can point to you things that they thought were terrific, audience didn't buy, or things that were lukewarm about, audience went.
Well, that's totally right. And the conclusion of my story was, so I put the play on for 2 nights in Australia, and I went, uh-oh, it's working. And even though there were problems that I think I could work on, I thought, it's working. And what I did was went home that night and started another play, because I thought, if this play is a hit, I won't be able to start another one. So, because I'll be too afraid. Right, so I started another little play right then. Yeah.
What was the second play you started?
Wasp. Yeah. One of my better works, I think.
You do? Was there something more satisfying about being a writer and a playwright? Because somehow it was more serious, or somehow it was more something.
There is, but I think this difference is this. First, they're completely different endeavors. Writing is a very personal, from your brain and your soul. Acting is, it's just you. When you're criticized as an actor, it's like saying your nose is too big. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just, that's it. You're just this mass of jelly that is so vulnerable to person's criticism because they're really talking about you, how you act, how you walk around, how you look, how you say things. When you write something, you can sit quietly and perfect it to the best of your ability. You can also understand what's right and what's wrong about it. And so when criticism comes, you can actually kind of detach, say, yeah, kind of right, and unless you get something very vicious, you know, which is just a personal attack. But it's some way it's a thing. It's more tangible, and you know, the people who do it, who are writers, their names are magic. So you feel like
I'm in company of greatness.
In company of magic names, you know.
So in the end, it sort of has. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So in the end, it has given you more satisfaction, more of kind of a psychic income.
It does, because the things that are said through writing are way more complicated than through acting. Although, you know, there's nothing more complicated than a single human being. But what I mean is, you can observe about others. As in acting, you're really only observing about your own character you're playing.
Then you started doing things for the New Yorker. Or
yes.
were all along.
Yeah.
So these were shorter pieces, these were humor pieces, these
right.
were. Yeah. Did you find that somehow, because you were Steve Martin, they gave you a pass?
Oh, no. No pass. There were many pieces.
Or because they expected more of you because you were Steve Martin. They almost wanted to say, show me you can write us. I know you can do movies, I know you can do comedy, but show me you can write.
Well, I don't know what they're thinking, but I know that, you know, they would turn down a piece if it wasn't up to snuff.
You've had pieces turned down?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Well, how do you take that?
I don't think the New Yorker says, oh my God, a piece from Steve Martin, oh, let's run it.
Yeah, because he's got marquee value. We don't need that.
They don't. They have marquee value. Yeah. You know, and it's not, New Yorker is not about marquee value. So, you know, I feel confident.
Was that a good moment when the New Yorker said, yes, Steve, we'll print your piece?
Absolutely.
Good moment.
Yes. Yeah. Like I say, I've had more response from pieces in the New Yorker than I've had from entire movies.
You know? Is that right?
Yeah. Hey, read your piece. It was funny. Hey, read your piece.
Pretty good.
Hey, it's all your movie. You know?
So then you turned to what is a novella.
Yes.
Because there was Shopgirl. A story you wanted to tell, or what?
Yes. There was something I wanted to explore. And, you know, there's no worse, you know, two words in the English language that are put together than celebrity novelist.
And that was the last thing you wanted to be, right?
Oh, my God. You know.
Of all the things you wanted to be, celebrity novelist.
Celebrity novelist is not. I mean, as soon as you, but I.
But you are a celebrity, and now you're a novelist.
Yeah, I hope that this is different.
Because there was a story you wanted to tell.
Yes, there was something, and the great thing about being in my position is, if I write something, no one ever has to see it if I don't like it. And so you start from a very personal place, a place of exploration, and I think I've heard other writers say this, is you know, the best writing they do is one where they quite don't know what they're talking about. And as you're writing, you are discovering what it is you actually are talking about, and you're discovering, you know, the characters and how they move, and it's almost like in your subconscious there's this mass of thought from your experience, and you're living your life, and you're observing things you don't even know you're observing, and it's all going in the subconscious, and it is formed and shaped suddenly by the conscious, and it comes out as a book, and you're going, I understand it. And in a way, it's kind of an exorcism and it allows you to take all those jumbled thoughts and sort of move them aside out of your brain, and formulate them.
This began what? I mean, was Mirabel, this young woman who works in Neiman Marcus in Beverly Hills? Give me a sense of how you got going on this.
Well,
what was first? Was the location? Some people have come here to this show, very good writers, and say, I start with place. I think of a place, and then the characters fill it up. Other people say, I just start with an event. And then others come in and say, you know.
In a way, I started with an event. And the event was fictional, I'll add, is that a girl, working in Neiman's, a lonely girl, in an isolated part in the glove department, you know, that very few people visit. And one day a man is shopping and he buys a pair of gloves, and he asks her, you know, what do you think the best ones are? And it's, you know, it's a little vague. And so she helps him, and he goes, he leaves. And then about a week later, she comes home, and there's a package on her door, and she opens it up, and they are the gloves. And it says, will you have dinner with me? And that was the event I started with. And I had certain characters in my head that I wanted to use, explore. And it's really about two people who are lonely and come together in a kind of superficial way, but they stay together for several years. And it's about that, you know, back and forth.
It's irresistible not to ask, how much of this do you draw from your own experiences and relationships?
Well, obviously, everything is from experience.
Right.
But whether the story is my story, I would say no. But it's from experience of my own life, talking to other people, listening, reading. So it's not a memoir.
No, I know, but you do draw from a sense. I mean, things happen to you.
Things
and
might
you,
have happened
and you
to
want to
me.
write about
Yeah.
it. You know, things make you, not because it's a exact copy of your own life or a
Right.
memoir, but in a sense, there's a reason that people want to explore certain kinds of experiences, certain kinds of relationship, and they want to say something about that. They want to talk about it in terms of a novella.
You know, I kind of think that I won't say there's two kinds of writers, there's many kinds of writers, but you know, one way to start is with a plot where you go, I'm going to tell, and you have it, and you
This
sort
is
of
the
know
story
the
I want
end,
to tell.
you know, this is the end, and you're like writing this plot, and it's very plot driven. And there's another way to write it, is like we were writing from the place of mystery, where you're going, I'm going to try and figure something out here on paper, and you try to write it so it's obviously entertaining. It's not about self-exploration. And you sort of let it unfold, and it almost directs itself. And I think a lot of writers understand that. They talk about it. It sounds corny and a cliche, but it's true.
Which are you?
Well, this came from certainly the
From the-
latter,
from the
from
latter,
writing from
exactly.
the place of mystery, going, what
Next.
What happened?
Yeah.
You know,
And is
what
that an
happened?
exciting process? An interesting process?
It is, and it's also one, as any other, you know, it can lead to failure, it can lead to success. Aesthetically, I'm talking about. So,
And do you find it more satisfying, say, than acting? Performing?
you know, acting has so many levels of pleasure.
Yeah.
One is the real joy of going to work in the morning and seeing people you like, and you're having fun, and you're
Yeah,
talking
right,
and creating,
right,
and it's
yeah,
funny, and there's an audience there, meaning the crew, and you like those people. It's a very hard job too, but and then there's the other pleasure when you see what you've made, that the movie is good. You know, there's no real pleasure to say, well, I was good and the movie stinks, or the movie was good and I stink. A movie has so many ways to fail, because you can make a great movie and have it be a flop. And so it's the only success nowadays is total in the world of movies. So you really have to have a total success, you know, artistic, financial, you know, critical, because it just kind of chips away at your ego, you know.
Why do you think you have been successful in so many different kinds of endeavors?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Part of it's courage, I think. I mean, you're willing to test your potential.
Well, you know, I think sometimes the most successul people are the naive ones who think, "Oh, I can do that."
Is that
Carl
you?
Carl Reiner once told me. I said, this was very early on in my career. He said, "You're like a guy who looked at Fred Astaire and said, I can do that."
Yes,
You know?
but you couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you,
And
you
that was
couldn't.
part of the humor. I know that I couldn't. But I
But
don't
you
know.
can.
Just
I mean, way back when you were working at Disneyland, you looked at the characters and said, I could do that.
Well, or wanted to do it.
Wanted to
yeah,
do it.
wanted to do
I
it.
mean, that's where the genesis began.
It's such a little miracle to have a success in show business. It really is. There's so many talented people, and sometimes it's the lucky break, but creating it. You're creating the lucky break.
But I mean, it is remarkable because I'm told by people that, for example, that work at Letterman or people that work at Saturday Night Live, have said that you take seriously your appearances there, and even though you know it's for 10 minutes or less, that you come in early at the beginning of the week and craft the character. I mean, and have a real sense, as you said, you're naive on one side, the Carl Reiner quote, but at the same time, you take these endeavors seriously. And
well, that just means if I do Letterman, and I really like my Letterman appearances, they're very cooperative. They have writers that help, and we usually do a little tape piece. So that means I come in and we tape something and work it out.
Yeah, but David has even said to me himself that, he said, Steve, I love him because he comes there to make it work.
Yeah,
he really
I
is going to invest
show.
more than most people.
Yeah,
and he dislikes most of all people who come there and think it's just going to happen.
Yeah, but some people are best that way. Chevy Chase is hilariously funny, unprepared.
Yeah,
that's when he's funniest. I've seen him be so funny. But I like to offer a little routine. But I also like the spontaneous thing too. You kind of have that so you can have those 3 or 4 minutes of spontaneity, and you feel confident and comfortable with it.
Did you do anything to prepare for this? I mean, did you go talk to somebody saying, or did you simply sit down and say, I'm going to learn by doing it. I'm going to get this story down.
Well, I learned, there's your kind of public life of what's perceived that you do. Like this is like a semi-serious novel from Steve Martin is like shocking. Not that anyone, goes around worrying about it. But in my life, I know the antecedents, and to me it's not shocking at all. Because if I look at my plays, they're lyrical or funny or serious. If I look at other things I've written, even for the New Yorker or in my book Pure Drivel, there's like little transitional works that lead me into something like this. So to me, it's not shocking at all or new. In fact, when I'm writing it, I'm actually fairly comfortable.
Yeah. Tell me about Mirabel as a character. What do you like about her? What makes her interesting?
Well, in a way, she's the antithesis of a real heroine, because she is quiet, calm, an interior life, depressed, kind to people, not aggressive. She doesn't push herself on people. She's at the mercy of her friends. She's doesn't know. The story takes place in Los Angeles. She doesn't know many people. Her beauty is of a special kind. So it's not one that like when you walk in, oh my God, It's a beauty that I think men come to after a while.
It grows on them.
Grows on them, exactly. If women only knew that, that it's not the sensational beauty that is most effective, but when I was, some kind of analogy here, when I was starting, I thought, as a comedian, it's okay if they hate me right now. Because the most profound, most profound fan you can get is someone who hated you and then turns. Yeah. They start to get it. And I think that happens with beauty. It's like, you can be, oh, she's not that beautiful, but suddenly, days, weeks, months later, you start to really see that person and they become so beautiful.
Your level of appreciation just grows.
Exactly. And it's not the kind of thing that you just can dismiss all of a sudden. Because there's it's like the difference between surface and depth. Yeah.
And I get you. I mean, it's amazing because you can think of people and they take on, just contact does this to you too. You're around someone And all of a sudden, you realize that you're seeing them in a much more appreciative way,
Absolutely.
in a different way, because they're adding dimension. Their presence, their intelligence adds to the face, adds to what it is, their presence and their physicality.
I always think the sexiest way you can see a woman is when she's working.
Yeah.
And not paying attention to anyone.
Did this person, Mirabel, have a physicality for you? Was she short and tall in your mind, as you would?
Well, you have to have an image.
Because you got to write it.
You have to write it, and you also don't want to contradict. I remember in the New Yorker, they'll say they used to have a little category called "Our Forgetful Authors." And on page 36, they'll say she had blue eyes. On page 94, she has brown eyes.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have to keep an image, and you have to put one together, definitely.
What was hardest about this?
Hardest, writing the mail, because in some way you're delving into your own psyche, your other people's psyche, other men's psyche. And you really, it's like...
but this is amazing to me, that it's harder for you to write Ray, and you know 1,000 Rays, than it was to write Mirabel.
I can't explain why. It's just, it's a question of how far to go, what...
Are you more interested in terms of sort of character, women than men? Just, what makes them
Well, in
tick?
this story, I was definitely more interested in Mirabel.
Yeah, of course.
The characters.
But I mean, generally, for you, is that true?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But in this story, Mirabel is definitely the enigma.
Yeah.
The one who's kind of being, she's drifting. She's drifting and trying to find herself. And, but not. It's a strange thing when you say someone's trying to find themselves. It's not an active enterprise.
It's just an ongoing engagement.
Right. Or they never think I got to find myself. You're finding yourself through your experience.
Yeah. How are you doing in that ballgame of finding yourself, in a sense? Because you are pushing the envelope in different places.
Yeah. No, I'm just me now. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere or come from it. I'm just.
And is this then a happy time to be there, so that?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is a good time. Yeah.
Nothing to prove, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you kind of, you get your spirit frees up when you withdraw from the competitive world. And in doing that, you actually become more competitive by default. In other words, your work becomes better.
Explain that to me.
When you say, look, I'm not going to try and have a monster movie hit to beat somebody. There's room for everyone, and let's take a look at if it were just me and what I would do, and see what comes out. And I look back over my career. The biggest hits I've had were ones that where I said, I'm just going to do this.
I'll do what I want to do.
Yeah. Or when I challenged myself, like in writing the screenplay for Roxy.
Is there any battle within you in terms of what you want to do and what you think is commercially viable?
No.
None.
But I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, I mean, some
I'm
people...
definitely interested in commercial success.
Right, of course you are.
Because, let's put it this way. That's a great feeling when you have a commercial success. And it also creates more opportunity. But like Mike Nichols said, someone asked him, he said, would you be more interested in artistic success or commercial success? And he said, why not both?
Exactly. Or why not, as somebody said in our business, why not do well and do good at the same time?
Yes, exactly.
The whole notion of being able to tap into that. Is there anything left for you to explore that creatively? I mean, you're a collector of art. Do you paint?
No. The worst.
The worst.
The worst.
You tried it. I think I remember you telling me once that you tried it for a moment and didn't.
No.
Never.
No,
Not even picked up a.
When I draw something, the paper's worth less than when I started.
Is that right?
No, I have no.
Because you marred the paper.
No interest in it.
Really?
No. I'd love to look at it. I'm a art fan.
Well, that would make it better.
Yeah.
But rather than expert, you're saying.
Right. Not a scholar. Just you look at art by looking. You learn about art by looking at it a lot.
Yeah.
And when you first come to art, you're told that it's magnificent, it's great, it's fabulous, and you stand there and go, what's everybody talking about? And then as, because you keep waiting for that big thing to happen to you where you're overwhelmed and moved. And sometimes you try and you can't quite, but that starts to come through looking. You go, oh, I understand now. I've seen now 3, 4 Durers.
Yeah.
I've seen, 15 Rothkos. I start to see that this one has the magic and this one doesn't. And this is now a great Rothko you're looking at, because you have to see some bad ones too. And as you go around the country and start looking, and you find yourself drawn to certain people, and people think that you can look at abstract art just naively, like you can walk up to it and go, and never having seen another painting by the artist, and go, ugh, or yes, or and then you can judge it.
It has to have
and
context.
You need to see. It has to have context. You have to see others. You have to see. You have to know the period. Because it's not something you can instantly like.
But then you're more of a fan. I mean, you do take a considered effort to inform your appreciation.
Well, not by considered effort. It's just by liking it.
Yeah, right.
So,
are you at a different place in terms of what you like than, say, you were 3 years ago? I mean, are you off onto some interesting exploration?
No, not really. I just, as a collector, you have to learn to get over lust for a picture. And you
explain that.
Well, you look at a picture and go, I'd like to own that.
Yeah.
And once you divorce yourself from I'd like to own that, you can really start looking at paintings.
But don't you still go through that? I mean, you're saying with every painting, you have to do that. You don't go through that at all? You
No.
don't see something and say, I can't just enjoy it, I have to own it. Doesn't
No, I don't have to do that anymore. Yeah.
Did you at one point?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know some people like that who
Yeah.
really do have to own it. And
Yeah.
they almost don't appreciate it. And it's almost like it's, in part, sort of a scalp on the belt, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it's a different enterprise. Collecting is not divorced from, but it's different than art appreciation.
So
And it's not a bad thing, by the way. I'm not saying it's bad. There's, great collectors have done great things for museums. And by the way, collectors, I feel, and you know who I think really understands paintings?
Who?
Collectors and dealers.
I do too.
Yeah, I think, I find dealers have great sensitivity to art, and they love the pictures. They really do. They deal in them, but they love them.
Yeah.
And they also are so discerning. They can look at a picture. I mean, I wrote about it in my play. They're the ones who look at a picture and go, because they're maybe investing millions in something.
I mean, you and I can name 3 or 4 people I know that are exactly like that.
Yeah, and they can look at 2 pictures and go, that's the one and that one's not. And sometimes the naive collector comes in and can't tell the difference.
And they can also be great friends of people who are starting a collection, to give them sort of really a unique kind of, take them by the hand and kind of transfer.
My advice to a beginning collector is buy a painting you like and then try and sell it. And see what happens. And that's how you learn how to collect paintings without, because sometimes what you think is a great painting turns out is not.
And pretty soon you'll get better at it.
Yeah.
Is there something inside of you that you are dying to do?
Well, I do want
to do.
I do want to write another play. But so far it hasn't materialized.
Don't know what you want to write about?
I think that's more it. That's it. Suddenly, it's like go back to my subconscious analogy again. There's like something builds, and you're thinking on a subject, and then suddenly it takes a form. Yeah. This took the form of a novella. The other took the form of a play, or a bit. By the way, I'm still doing like ridiculous comedy. I'm doing a thing. Kevin Kline is hosting a charity for diabetes, and I'm going to do something there called Steve Martin and his Singing Balls.
Now, what could that be?
Well,
pray tell me.
It's a mic at half-mast and stand there and sing. So nothing is too silly still.
Yeah. You said at a point that I think you were reading after Sergeant Bilko, you just said, I couldn't read any more scripts. I think that's when you turned to writing plays.
Yeah, I took a break there.
I mean, do you think at some point you say, I just can't write another word and I'll go back to doing something else that'll be fresher for me?
Possible. Well, I do have a movie You know, writing is always fresh.
Yeah.
It just really is. I mean, you just make it fresh, that's all. I do have a movie coming out next year called Novocaine that I did with Helena Bonham Carter and Laura Dern. And that's sort of...
Congratulate you on your choice of co-stars,
beautiful.
sir.
Yes, very good. And it's in the Spanish prisoner mold, kind of a weird, funny mystery. So I'm excited about that, actually.
Yeah. We talked about that role. I mean, that was an interesting and different role for you.
You say we talked about? Oh,
you
Spanish prisoner.
You and I talked about
right,
it, I think.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. No, I love doing that. I love working with David Mamet, who said one of the most profound things I've heard that I keep, reminding myself of. He said in a book he wrote with a beautiful title called 3 Uses of the Knife, which I still don't understand what it means.
That was the title?
3 Uses of the Knife. It's about theater. And he said, no art comes from the conscious mind. And the longer you think about that statement, it sounds shocking at first, but I agree with him wholeheartedly.
No art comes from the conscious mind, meaning it just comes from somewhere you know not where.
Meaning that once it comes from the conscious mind, it's dead. And it's you have to allow the subconscious mind to breathe in a way, to let it really come out and really come from your soul.
How, when you finish this, do you write in a way so that when you finish this piece of this novella, that it was you put it away, or did you then labor and labor and
No, I labored.
You
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You got to the end and then went back and back and back.
Absolutely.
And rewrote.
Because I love sentences. And I love the elegance of a sentence. And sometimes when you first write a sentence, it's just incredibly elegant, or feels that way, personally. And then you reread it and you realize there's a problem, and you have to reconstruct that sentence, maintaining its rhythm, its point, its message, and making it, in some cases, grammatical, or making it clear. And what I did with this book is, what I would do is read it aloud many, many times. Because I've, when you read something, I think you're actually skipping over a lot of it. Your mind is going over the thes and ofs and all that and missing it. But I found when I read it aloud to myself or to someone else, it's a lot of work for them, but you really have to understand every word, and you could really hear the rhythmic faults and transitional faults,
When do you write? What time of day?
Usually in the late afternoon. Yeah. And sometimes it'll go into the night, But you have to build in those times. You have to know, oh, I'm getting that feeling. It's like sex. I'm getting that feeling.
Watch out, honey, I'm getting that feeling.
To make a plan here.
Is it different for plays versus novels versus essays in terms of any of the standard stuff of how you approach the function?
I would say play, novel, essay have similar, thrusts. The one that's different is the screenplay, because that is very mechanical, as well as it has to be inspired too. But it's a lot of moving and structural changes, and it's like because that is truly an interface.
I'm a little surprised that you have never seemingly wanted to be a director.
Yeah.
You would think, you have every reason, it would seem to me. In other words, if somebody said to me, here's Steve Martin, and you know a lot about him, what would you think he would logically do? I would say direct movies.
Well, I feel confident that I could direct, but you know what? It's it's a commitment of time, and I see directors and they have no life. They're working till 10, 11 at night. They're first on the set, last to leave. And once the actor's day is done, I still have 3-4 hours to go with dailies. So I really like my serenity.
You like your life.
I really do.
You like your life.
Yeah.
Are you one of these people then that has a real command of balance and proportionality, and in a sense that you've walked away from huge success from stand-up to do something else, from acting to do something else, I mean, you seem to be one of those people who are lucky enough to be in control of their life and their destiny.
Well, that's probably an illusion. I really, I don't feel like there's certain unfulfilled parts.
No,
of my
no, but
life.
do you feel a little bit like, as I said, you have glided from one thing to the other, that you're just out there, you're out there, and it's.
Well, I feel very unmanaged, if that's what you mean. If that you mean. It's like, I don't have in a way, a professionally guided career. It's just me. I mean, it's just me. When I first started in show business, now people are aware of show business through television and entertainment Tonight shows and backstage and everything. But when I first started, nobody knew anything, how to, we just got an act and went on stage somewhere and did it. There were no 50 agents in the audience, like, looking for the next person.
When you started in stand-up, were you instantly successful?
No.
How long did it take?
I started becoming a success at it in 1975, and I started in 1966.
Jesus Christ, 9 years.
Yeah.
Was that
maybe
hard
even
for you?
More, no longer than that, actually, because I was probably 64.
Was it always a guy out in a white suit with a?
No. That came as part of my,
irony
revolution.
Irony period.
Yeah, irony period. And I would travel around. I remember Bill Cosby said once, and I couldn't agree with him more. He said, because every comedian, I think, who ends up somewhere starts from no laughs in the audience. And he said, I knew I was making it because the waitresses were laughing. He says, and they would see me night after night after night. And I sort of had the same experience. It's like you see the waitresses, like, they're shaking their heads and kind of laughing, when the audience is like dead. They could care less.
Bill Cosby once told me that one of the great days of his life, or evenings of his life, is when he came over from Philadelphia to the Village, and Jonathan Winters was then performing, and he didn't do well. And he said it was so great to see somebody who was so good not connect one night to an audience. And he realized that, it didn't have to be perfect.
Right.
You just keep building.
If you do 6 shows a week, there's going to be one that's the best and one that's the worst, and then whatever is in between. So really, at the end of the week, you go, well, I had maybe 2 good ones, relatively. So, it's a struggle out.
Tell me the story, though, before I go. Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
You went to London.
This would be about 1980.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You go to London. He has seen you in The Jerk, or what? What was it?
He saw me on a television show in London.
But had he seen a movie? Had he corresponded with you before then, or not?
No.
So okay, pick it up. You tell me this.
It might even be before 1980, because I don't think The Jerk was out. But I had come to London to do my stand-up act on television, and then I got a call from Stanley Kubrick the next day saying, I'd like to meet with you. And so I went to his estate, and he was just he pitched me what became Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this was 1980, and it wasn't made until 1999.
Right.
With Tom.
It was based on a book by Schindler.
Right.
And I think the book was called Rhapsody. Had different titles and different translations. And it was a enigmatic book, a beautiful book. And then, of course, never.
Okay, but did anything happen? Did he call you up and say, have you read the book? Did you call him back and say, I think this would make a great movie?
I didn't know that I was supposed to call Stanley Kubrick back. It was like, huh?
What did you think was going on?
I went to his estate, and we had dinner. We played chess.
Oh, that's right. That was the other part.
Yeah, we played chess.
And he was very good at chess?
Very good at chess.
Yeah. Are you pretty good?
He beat me, let's put it that way.
Yeah, but did you make it competitive for him?
I think I did, a bit, yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting evening. He toured his, catacombs. There would be boxes of reviews, and they would say favorable reviews, and it would say hostile reviews. And he was also, this would be 1980, and it would be like, I can't remember when 2001 was out, but it was early 70s or late 60s.
Yeah.
And he was still viewing every print before it would be sent out for color balance.
Thank you for coming, Steve.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Steve Martin, this novel is called Shopgirl. Thank you for joining us for the